Imagine a visionary billionaire offers your 10-year-old a one-way ticket to join a new human settlement on Mars. If you sent them, your child would face high solar radiation, a low-gravity environment their developing bones aren't adapted for, and completely untested biological risks. You would reject the offer immediately. The physical dangers are extreme. No one knows how a developing body actually reacts to Martian gravity, and astoundingly, the company behind the mission didn't even require your permission to sign them up. We would never allow a corporation to run a mass experiment on our children like that in the physical world. Yet, over the last decade, we unwittingly subjected an entire generation to a massive, untested environmental shift with zero guardrails. Social psychologist Jonathan Haidt calls this the Great Rewiring of childhood. Between 2010 and 2015, as teens traded basic flip phones for smartphones with high-speed internet, their primary environment rapidly shifted from a physical, play-based childhood to a phone-based existence. By giving adolescents 24/7 access to an unregulated digital universe, we essentially sent them to grow up on Mars. Through the 1990s and 2000s, adolescent mental health was generally stable. The data showed no warning signs suggesting a looming crisis. This chart shows the percentage of U.S. teens who suffered a major depressive episode. Right around 2012, the line takes a sharp hockey stick turn upward. Rates for both boys and girls shoot up, ultimately increasing by roughly 150%. You might look at a graph like this and wonder if Generation Z is simply more open to talking about their feelings, or maybe they're just over-reporting normal teenage stress as clinical depression. But this chart tracks hard behavior, not subjective feelings. It shows hospital emergency room visits for non-fatal self-injury among younger adolescents. Starting in 2010, the rate for girls spikes incredibly, surging 188% over the following decade. This collapse in well-being occurred simultaneously across all social classes, races, and demographics in multiple countries around the world. The data points to a very specific catalyst. A massive synchronized spike in physical self-harm and severe depression correlates precisely with the exact years the smartphone became a ubiquitous fixture in teenagers' hands. Haidt identifies 4 foundational harms caused by this transition. The first is severe social deprivation. This chart illustrates the percentage of high school students who hang out with close friends on a regular basis. You can see a steep plunge beginning exactly after 2011. Kids were suddenly spending the vast majority of their time maintaining shallow virtual networks, causing a catastrophic drop in time spent building deep, real-world bonds. Even when teens are physically together, continuous digital interruptions erode their interactions. Constantly looking down at a buzzing pocket degrades the intimacy, eye contact, and focused attention necessary to develop face-to-face social skills. That social exhaustion blends directly into the second foundational harm, sleep deprivation. The phone is a highly stimulating device that directly competes with rest. Late-night scrolling delivers direct blasts of blue light to a teenager's retinas. Biologically, this tells the brain that it's morning, halting the production of melatonin. This chronic lack of sleep heavily predicts future depression and poor impulse control. By migrating childhood online, the virtual world starves developing humans of the 2 most basic physiological needs required to build a healthy brain: deep connection and deep rest. The third harm is attention fragmentation. Teenagers today are bombarded with hundreds of notifications from messaging apps, social platforms, and breaking news. A brain subjected to this continuous stream of alerts struggles to develop executive function. When a student is constantly tempted by digital off-ramps, sustaining focus or engaging in deep thought becomes nearly impossible. This leads to the fourth and most insidious harm: addiction. Tech platforms are built on a psychological mechanism known as a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. It operates exactly like a slot machine. Unpredictable rewards, like a sudden influx of likes or a tagged photo, hijack the brain's dopamine circuits. These hits don't create actual satisfaction. They create an anxious craving for more. Sustaining these artificially high dopamine levels forces the brain to adapt by down-regulating its own baseline. When a teenager puts the phone down, they experience severe withdrawal symptoms like profound irritability and anxiety. These platforms were intentionally engineered using behaviorist psychology to hijack human biology. They turned a generation of children into heavy users who are ill-equipped to navigate the physical world. We are living in a bizarre paradox. Modern society heavily overprotects children in the physical world, terrified to let them walk to a park alone, yet we completely underprotect them in the virtual world. Healthy development requires what psychologists call anti-fragility. Children need to face small physical risks, make low-cost mistakes, and resolve real-world conflicts to build lifelong resilience. The virtual world lacks those natural guardrails. Making a small social mistake online doesn't result in a quick apology and a handshake. Instead, it can trigger permanent, viral social ruin on a massive scale. To reverse this crisis, we have to invert our protective instincts. We must drastically restrict immersion in the unforgiving virtual world, while granting our kids much more freedom in the real world. Haidt proposes 4 practical collective action rules to reverse the epidemic and ground childhood back in reality. First, no smartphones before high school. Young adolescents should only be given basic communication devices, like flip phones, which don't carry an infinite digital universe in their pocket. Second, no social media before age 16. We have to protect rapidly developing brains from algorithmic virality and the pressure of constant public performance. Third, phone-free schools. Devices need to be locked in pouches for the entire school day, forcing students to engage in actual face-to-face socialization during their downtime. And fourth, more unsupervised play. We have to step back and allow children the independence to explore, take minor physical risks, and build their own resilience. The phone-based childhood has been a failed experiment, but through collective action, we can end the isolation. We can bring this generation back from Mars and let them grow up on Earth. If you want to dive deeper into the hard data and solutions, hit the link in the description to read The Anxious Generation. And don't forget to like and subscribe to BookSummary AI for more deep dives into the books shaping our world.